Hi, good day, good night, good evening, depending on what time you happen to be watching this. Welcome to another episode of House of Stars. I'm your girl Star, and today, as you can see from the title, I'm reading on Bad Bunny. Now, I'm gonna be real. I've never really liked him at first. Wasn't really into his music or everything. I'm sorry, I'm not really a person that likes to listen to a lot of mainstream stuff. So, I've never really was really into stuff, but for some reason, this weekend, his album caught my eye. Because Nueva York was the one that caught my eye. And I started to listen to that, and I just started to see the whole concept of the album. And I have to say, I'm a sucker for people that are patriotic, that love their country, love their culture, and especially he's from the Caribbean. Even though it's Puerto Rico where they speak Spanish, and as you know, my background is from Jamaica, it's a completely different, two different islands, two different cultures. At the same time, the influences of the music and culture and spirituality and everything is just the same, and it runs just the same. And whenever I see anyone from the Caribbean that is doing their thing, I'm always there to support. So I was going back to some of the references in the video that I did, my last video that I posted, which is for New Year's. And I was picking up that there's going to be some countries, a couple countries in the Caribbean that are going to start to fight for their freedom or become a republic, whatever, or come out of being a commonwealth country or whatever the case may be. And I'll find the timestamp of when I say that, but I will link it in the description box of when I was mentioning something like that. And then right after this came out, and I'm like, something's happening here. Something's happening with Puerto Rico here. And I can see it. So let me just get into it. First things first, we're going to tap into his energy. I have his date of birth here as March 10th, 1994. So meaning Bad Bunny is a Pisces. And yeah, let's get into it. Wow. Oh, he's so overwhelmed by all the love he's getting. Like, he did not think. No matter how thoughtful, how much this was thought out, how this was planned out, he is completely shocked by how much it blew up. Because I don't know why I keep on getting this spirit. You know what I mean? I'm wondering if it's like Yemaya, or it's one of those Orishas. Because I feel like I see like a Orisha came and used him and mounted him. It's almost like the land itself was crying. And the land itself was crying, and the land itself used a human body as the essence to mount so that it can bring forth a message. And as you know, when it comes to Bad Bunny, of course we have a lot of people from the Puerto Rican heritage or community that have made it big, I guess, mainstream, but not on the levels and not on the numbers of Bad Bunny. But he is being mounted. I literally heard mounted. He's being mounted and being used as a vessel to bring forth this message and this awareness of the country and try to save the country in itself. Okay, because when it comes to Puerto Rico and all those different islands, I remember I had a client. For example, it's funny how you mentioned Hawaii, because I had a client and she was talking to me while she was having a bit of Hawaii before. She was literally when you feel the essence and the air and the power of the land, is just something different. And I feel like that's the same thing with Puerto Rico, especially when it comes to Puerto Rico is a country that carries all the essences and the auric powers of the Orishas on every level. There's water, land, river, hills, mountains, electricity. All of them is there. But I keep on getting the spirit of Yemaya. That's there, and I feel like that energy and that essence is what's really being pulled through him to voice everything that's happening and bring back healing and bring back the true essence and the true power of Puerto Rico and where it would stand before or when it's starting to get gentrified. So it's so funny that there was one thing that I noticed, especially when he was talking about, one of the references he uses is the frog. With the frog, I think the frog would be a Chosi. I think a frog is a Chosi. I would have to look it up and see. Either a Chosi or Usain, but it has something. Obviously, those are references to water, swamp, and the forest, right? But it was a frog that was extinct, or they claimed to be extinct, which it was actually not factually true to be extinct. That this frog is actually still thriving within the island. And even if you go watch the documentary, it talks about that. So in so many ways, it's almost like being seen, but not being seen. You know, it's like you see me, but you don't see me. So I think that comes to the truth, talks about the true essence, the power, and the heart on a spiritual level of Puerto Rico. It's like Puerto Rico was starting to lose its like almost like spiritual cultural values through gentrification. But people have to understand that when it comes to the liberation of Puerto Rico, and because you have to understand that even though Puerto Rico is in the Commonwealth of the US, they're still their own entity. You know? They're still their own entity. They're still their own people, and and it has not been easy for anyone to conquer taking the root and the souls and the heart of those people of Puerto Rico. And I think that comes into the spirit of Yemaya and the depths of Yemaya. Yemaya and also a bit of Oshun, because Oshun is also that tied in with itself. I'm going to be honest, I feel like Puerto Rico is one of those countries right now that are probably striving for their independence. I will say within the next, again, number 3. So it could be within the next 3 months. You're going to hear an announcement within the 3 years. That's going to be the essence of what's happening here. If you've noticed, he just dropped his tour dates today. It's like he's doing a residency in Puerto Rico himself, which is bringing and calling all of them back home. You know what I'm saying? If you're seeing right now what's happening in Africa right now, what's just recently, even Jamaica as we speak are in the process of becoming a republic. These are all countries that are trying to liberate themselves, okay, from the strongholds of these colonizer countries. There's been a huge shift, because there's always, no matter what, there's always a huge shift, especially when the sovereignty changes or who is king, queen, whatever the case may be. You know, once the queen was out, a lot has come to change, and that's why there has been discussion of the Royal Empire falling or whatever the case may be. There's always the time that it comes to the end. But I think that that's what's actually happening right now is trying to bring back the wealth and bring back the depth and bring back the I heard sovereignty. I don't even know where I heard that word. The sovereignty back to Puerto Rico themselves, so that they're able to be put in a position to sustain themselves as a country and separate themselves from the U.S. That's what I feel like is happening right now. And I feel like they're going to definitely thrive in their own economy. I do, because it's Puerto Rico itself is really rich of a lot of resources. I don't know why I keep hearing this, and I'm not even hearing. I don't know this for a fact. I would have to fact check this. But I feel like there's a lot of resources in Puerto Rico very equivalent to things that you can find in Africa. So like I keep on seeing like minerals and stuff like that. Like that like it's really rich in resource. So in reality, if everything that's Puerto Rican stays friggin' Puerto Rican, that country could actually successfully sustain itself to be able to be an independent country on its own. To be honest, for what I sense, I don't even feel like the U.S. is doing much for them anyways. But back to Bad Bunny. Back to Bad Bunny. I don't know why I see something that there's going to be coming in about healthcare. I see him doing something about healthcare within the country. Healthcare and education, because I don't know why I keep on seeing stuff with the youth. He is a musician, of course, and I'm sure he's a very well respected musician in the country itself. But I also see political work for him as well. I definitely feel like later on in life, that's where his roads are going, is to get into politics. I feel like when that happens, he's gonna have really good relationships with different islands. Because I see like the unity between islands. I don't know why I just saw Shine. Shine is in politics in Belize. But I just saw Shine's face. So I'm like, I seen like a handshake with Shine. So I was like, okay, there's definitely a merging that's happening. But where there's merging, where there's liberation, there is war. You know what I mean? I don't think it's actually war, but at the same time, I think that this whole thing, how he's being mounted, how he was being used as a tool to be able to send forth this message and in a good way. Because I'm talking like this is like God is choosing you to do something. This is not like they are choosing you to. You're doing something. You're being called to do something that it's really getting back to your roots. Look how much it's touched the world. It's the number one in the world, but how it's touched so much people in the world to get back into their roots, originally where they come from, their source, the root, right? Getting back into their roots and coming back to their self. Because in reality, we're in a 9 year, okay, which is 9, and Arisha is Oya. Oya is the dead. Oya is the ancestors. So those are who come before us. So when it comes to the ancestors, it's like there had to be them before it became us. So knowing exactly where you come from, your root, what runs through your veins, is what's happening. But I feel like this is going to be a really big tour. He needs to be very careful. I feel like their energy of the concert has to be prayed over. It has to be light. No low vibrations. It has to be light, because compiling that much people together energetically, the way the impact it will be mindful that it will come with its resistance. So it's like I keep on hearing, you have to align your energy with the root that the land was built on. Okay? Like there are some lands that are built on certain things, So at what source do you use it? It's like we can all get blessings, but from who? In the name of what? But these Arisha, I keep hearing Arisha, drums, that's how the land and the essence and the power and the structure has been built. So you always have to be true. He would have to always be true and respective to that. So that's what I get. If you guys have any questions or concerns, or want me to read on anybody else, I will. But for some reason, without reading, it went more into the actual movement itself than him. If you'd like to get a psychic reading of me, you can always hit me up. All my links are in the description box. So I do want to thank you for your time and rocking with me. May God bless you and the angels protect you. Good night.